All right, good morning, English high school colleagues. This is Jess Madden-Fuoco, instructional coach. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of what we're currently thinking about at home online learning for students. And please know that we will be revising this and adjusting this based on what we all learn in this crazy adventure together. Um, so, first of all, I just wanted to say that as we worked on creating this plan, we really tried to think about what do students need during the shutdown, and what also does staff need, because we know that the next weeks will be unpredictable, and we know that all of us, students and staff, have different demands on their time. So we tried to create a plan that we think allows for access to learning for kids and flexibility for students and staff, and also keeping a connection with our community. So just to go through this really quickly, we want kids to have access to learning, to be able to keep learning and growing. We want them to stay connected with our community, and we all need to be flexible with each other. So we have to be flexible with kids, and we are going to be flexible with you all as staff because we know that you're juggling a lot right now too. So the most important thing is that Google Classroom will be the learning management system. So that's the only tool that you're required to use during the online learning that we'll engage in. We're also going to be allowing you to use two other tools, IXL and Edpuzzle. And the reason we're being controlling about the tools is because if you think about this from a student experience, if every teacher is using two or three tools that are new to them, that could end up being just an overwhelming amount of technology tools for them to learn. So the exception to these three tools would be ones that you're already using with students that they're familiar with. So if you have other tools that kids are comfortable with, you're completely welcome to use those. So I'm going to explain those tools in a minute, but it's going to take us a couple weeks to try to get kids good access to technology. BPS did order more Chromebooks, but those are going to be at different pickup locations where meals will also be offered for students and families. But it will take probably a couple weeks for students to access those. So we wanted to choose platforms that'll work on phones and iPads too. So in terms of maintaining community, we wanted to make sure that we all stay connected. So we're going to be asking teachers to hold Zoom office hours. We'll create a schedule for that. So maybe, math would be 11 a.m., science 12 p.m., something like that, so that all the Zoom sessions aren't happening simultaneously so that kids can access different ones. And then, another important value for us during this time is flexibility. So we think that, we just don't know how things are going to go. So we thought of this idea of asking teachers to release a week's worth of assignments on Mondays. And what we mean by a week's worth is 3 or 4 assignments. And I'm going to show you what our recommendation is for that. But we're hoping that that gives you flexibility because we know some of you have little ones at home or caring for other family members. And of course, if you end up facing any illness, we're going to be very flexible with you about that too, of course. So we hope that the weekly release of assignments will give you flexibility to work on them throughout the week, but not have to have them ready until each Monday. And it also gives students flexibility then to complete them in a schedule that works for them, because we know that some of them will have similar demands to those that some of us are facing in terms of caring for younger siblings or for other family. And then this third page of this document just has contact information for leadership and student support staff. All right, so Caitlin, Ms. Murphy had sent yesterday in her midday update, she had sent staff expectations during closure, so you can check those out, but we'll be going over some of those now so that you can get a better idea of what this might look like. So this screen recording is mostly focused on the academic work you'll be releasing to students each week. So I had a Zoom call this morning with the math team, so I can just kind of bring you into one example, which might be helpful. As I said, the only required platform is Google Classroom. So you do not have to use Edpuzzle and you do not have to use IXL. But if you did want to check those out, what Edpuzzle lets you do is you can use any existing YouTube video, you upload it into Edpuzzle, and then you can insert questions into the video. And so what that enables you to do is basically teach students content or skills through a video and then engage them in it with the questions. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then we are also encouraging use of IXL. So IXL is strong for ELA, math, and Spanish. It also has science and history, but the topics for science and history are more limited for the high school level, but I will show you what topics they do have. And then for math teachers, they're also going to be giving students a problem set each week, which they'll release in Google Classroom as an assignment, and then students might type in their responses into Google Classroom, or students might solve the problems on paper, and then the teachers plan to be flexible with students about how they submit those. Like they could even text a picture of the problems to the teacher or email them, upload them to Google Classroom. So let me just show you some of these tools. So in Edpuzzle, so let's imagine that one of the science teachers is teaching about genes and heredity, okay? So imagine that they found this video, and this one I found on YouTube, and then I realized a teacher had already created questions for it in Edpuzzle. So what you see here is that in this 6-minute video, the teacher put several multiple choice questions. That might be more than I would do. I might think more about, 3 or 4 questions. But what Edpuzzle lets you do is you see these are all the questions down here. So it pauses the video wherever you've inserted a question. And then the question pops up. So you see as students are watching, that multiple choice question will pop up. Students answer it. And then let me show you what it looks like from the teacher view. So then when students answer these questions, you can go into the grade book, and it's pretty cool because you can actually see how much time each student spent watching the video. So this student in my restorative justice class watched the video twice because it's a 12-minute video, so I can tell that he watched that video twice. And then I can click here and read the response that he wrote to the question I had put at the end of that video. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of how Edpuzzle works. And Edpuzzle does sync with Google Classroom. So you'll see in my restorative justice class here that Edpuzzle is here too. So you can kind of keep everything housed within Google Classroom. So then the science teacher who's teaching about genes would then maybe find some IXL questions where students could answer these 7 questions. And what IXL does is if the student gets it wrong, it pops up a box that explains why they got it wrong and what the correct answer is and why. And then the science teacher for that week of assignments, they might also want to find a reading about genes, right? And I found this website, which I thought was nice because it allows students to listen to the reading, which can make it more accessible to some of our students. And then it also has a Spanish translation of the reading. So the student could click there and they could access it in Spanish. So the science teacher for the third assignment for the week, they might ask the students to read this, and then maybe the students answer a couple of questions about this text that the teacher puts in Google Classroom. Okay, so that's what a possible week could look like if your topic were genes, and how you could use Edpuzzle, which is a way of like really teaching a topic, because you can find any videos that teachers have already put in Edpuzzle, or you can put any video that's in YouTube. You can upload that really easily into Edpuzzle. Or the third option with Edpuzzle is you can create your own screen recording where you're teaching students something. So let me just show you a quick example of that I've done before. So what I did with this is we can just listen to it.
Now we are in part 3 of the online session 3. During this session, we're going to focus on a concern conversation protocol. So at times, you may need to raise a concern in a debrief meeting. We'd love for you to review the concern conversation protocol and compare and contrast it with the debrief protocol that we've been using regularly. And then we'd love for you to submit an individual reflection in Edpuzzle. When would you consider using this concerns protocol instead of the regular post-observation debrief protocol?
Okay, and so then you see how I had this open-ended question pop up at the end. That video wasn't fully teaching people something. You can definitely make it more like, explaining a concept to students. You could show them how to solve a math problem. You can do any kind of screen recording, and then you can upload the screen recording to YouTube and then import it into Edpuzzle and add questions like this. So that's the other option with Edpuzzle. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm hoping this was a reassuring overview. I would love to hear any questions or concerns you have. So I'll ask for you to send those to me by email. And again, we're going to try to limit to these 3 platforms, except for ones that you already use with students and that they're already comfortable with. So thank y'all for your patience and flexibility during this time, because none of us really know what the future holds here, but we're trying to provide some learning for students, and we're hoping that you feel like we're setting a reasonable expectation for you too. So thank y'all so much, and See you soon by Zoom this week. Take care.